Enki, Anunaki, never before revealed, who is Enki, Yah. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Thou shalt not worship any graven image. Thou shalt not take God's name in vain. Remember the Sabbath, to keep it holy. Honor thy father and thy mother. Thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt not commit adultery. Thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt not bear false witness. Thou shalt not covet. This one's last time laws, during the age of Pisces. But now things has changed. In the new age, it becomes worse. They will say, curse your father and mother nowadays. So this one here is another image of this being. And here's yet another one, like a gray, okay? Enkaya, god of creation, intelligence, sea craft, water, sea water, lake water, fertility, semen, magic, and mischief, and evil also. The tale of Enkaya from the Adar seal in a giant Akkadian cylinder. Seal dated to circa 2300 BC. The symbol would be the fish, the goat, the chimera, and the Dugan. Parents would be Enu and Namu, consort Nihursagdam Kina, children Mardak, Dumuzid, Ninsa, Nikura, Asha, and Niti. The Greek equivalent will be Poseidon and Prometheus, or in Roman, I guess he would be Zeus. Enkaya, Sumerian, is the Sumerian god of water, knowledge, crafts, and creation, and one of the Anunaki. He was later known as Yah in the Assyrian Babylonian religion, and is identified by some scholars with Aya in Canaanite religion. The name was rendered Eos in Greek source, Damascus. He was originally the patron god of the city of Eridu, but later the influence of his cult spread throughout Mesopotamia and to the Canaanites, Hittites, and Hurrians. He was associated with the southern band of constellations called Stars of Yah, but also with the constellation Siku, the field square of Pegasus. Beginning around the second millennium BCE, he was sometimes referred to in writing by the numeric ideogram for 40, occasionally referred to as his sacred number. The planet Mercury, my God, associated with Babylonian Nabu, the son of Marduk, was in Sumerian times identified with Enkaya. Many myths about Enkaya had been collected from various sites, stretched from southern Iraq to the Levantine coast. He is mentioned at the earliest extent cuneiform inscriptions throughout the region and was prominent from the 3rd millennium down to the Hellenistic period. Etymology. The exact meaning of Enkaya's name is uncertain. The common translation is Lord of the Earth. The Sumerian En is translated as the title equivalent to Lord and was originally a title given to the high priest. Ki means earth, but there are theories that Ki in this name has another origin, possibly Kig of unknown meaning, or Kur meaning mood. The name Yah is allegedly Hurrian in origin, while others claim that his name Yah is possibly of Semitic origin and may be a derivation from the West Semitic root. He meaning life, in this case used for spring running water. In Sumerian, Ea means the house of water, and it has been suggested that this was originally the name for the shrine of the god at Eridu. It has also been suggested that the original non-anthropomorphic divinity at Eridu was not Enki but Abzu, the emergency of Enkaya as the divine lover of Nihosag, and also her brother in the divine battle between the younger Aigiki divinities and Abzu, saw the Abzu, the underground waters of the Akifa, becoming the place in which the foundations of the temple were built. With some Sumerian deity names as Enlil, there are variations like Elil N means Lord and E means temple. It's likely that Ea is the Sumerian short form for Lord of Water, and Enkai is a god of water. Ab and Abzu also means water. The main temple to Enkai was called E Abzu, meaning Abzu temple, also E Engur, a meaning house of the subterranean waters. A ziggurat temple surrounded by Euphrates marshland near the ancient Persian Gulf coastline at Eridu. It was the first temple known to have been built in southern Iraq. 4 separate excavations at the site of Eridu have demonstrated the existence of a shrine dating back to the earliest Ubaid period, more than 6,500 years ago. Over the following 405 years ago, the temple was expanded 18 times until it was abandoned during the Persian period. On this basis, Torkild Jacobson has hypothesized that the original deity of the temple was Abzu, with his attributes later being taken by Enki over time. Steinkela believes that during the earliest period, Enki had a subordinate position to a goddess, possibly Nihusag, taking the role of divine consort or high priest, later taking priority. The Enki temple had its entrance a pool of fresh water, and excavation has found numerous carp bones, suggesting collective feasts. Carp are shown in twin water flows running into the later god Enki, suggesting continuity of these features over a very long period. No wonder carp or koi is so used, especially on the east. They make ponds full of carp and koi. These features were found at all subsequent Sumerian temples, suggesting that this temple established the pattern for all subsequent Sumerian temples. All rules laid down at the Eridu were faithfully observed. The other seals, Enki was the keeper of the divine powers called Me, the gifts of civilization. He is often shown with the horned crown of divinity. On the other seal, Enki is depicted with 2 streams of water flowing into each of his shoulders, one the Tigris, the other the Euphrates. Alongside him are two trees symbolizing the male and female aspect of nature. He is shown wearing a flounced skirt and a cone-shaped hat. An eagle descends from above to land upon his outstretched right arm. This portrayal reflects Enki's role as the god of water, life, and replenishment. Considered the master shape of the world, god of wisdom and all of magic, Enki was characterized as the lord of the Apsu and Akkadian, the freshwater sea or groundwater located within the earth. And the later Babylonian epic Inomailis, Abzu, the begetter of the gods, is inert and sleepy, but finds his peace disturbed by the younger gods, so sets out to destroy them. His grandson Enki, chosen to represent the younger gods, puts a spell on Abzu, casting him into a deep sleep, thereby confining him deep underground. Enki subsequently sets up his home in the depths of the Abzu. Enki thus takes on all of the functions of the Abzu including his fertilizing powers as Lord of the Waters and Lord of Summer. Shh. Early royal inscription from the 3rd millennium BCE mentioned the reeds of Enki. Reeds were an important local building material used for baskets and containers and collected outside the city walls, where the dead or sick were often carried. What's the problem with you, huh? Why? What's wrong? Used for baskets and containers and collected outside the city walls, where the dead or sick were often carried. This links Enki to the cool or underworld of Sumerian mythology. No, 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 cannot climb there. Do you understand? It's dangerous for you. Don't climb there. Don't climb. In another, even older tradition, Namu, the goddess of the primeval, the cat is looking at something at the window and meowing. And it's around 1:35 a.m. right now. So in another even older tradition, Namu, the goddess of the primeval, don't climb there. Whatever's calling you to go there, don't go there. Okay? Don't go there. Back up. Back up. Back up. Don't go there to the window. Understand? It's dangerous. If something is calling you, don't go there. Cat. Cat. Don't. No, 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 no. No. No, no. No. Calm down. Never mind whatever is there on the window, don't care about them. Whatever is there on the window, the curtain, I don't care. Just don't be afraid, just don't care about them. I know it. Get down. Get down right now. Huh? Why? Get down. Oh shit. So this links Enki to the Kuru underworld of Sumerian mythology, another even older tradition. Namu, the goddess of the primeval creative matter, and the mother goddess portrayed as having given birth to the great gods, was the mother of Enki, and as the watery creative force was said to pre-exist. E.R. Enki Benito states with Enki it is an interesting change of gender symbolism. The fertilizing agent is also water. I think all this is a metaphor, you see, it's not it's an analogy, it's not quite literally, it's an analogy, it's a metaphor. So it's also water, Sumerian A or AB, which also means semen. And one evocative passage in a Sumerian hymn, Enki stands at the empty river beds and fills them with his water. Yuck. Creation of life and sickening. The cosmogenic myth common in Sumer was that of the Hyros Gamos, a sacred marriage where divine principles in the form of dualistic opposites came together as male and female to give birth to the cosmos. In the epic Enki and Nihursag, Enki as Lord of Abyss of fresh water was the Sumerian word for semen, sleeping with his wife in the paradise of Dilimun, where the land of Dilimun is a pure place. The land of Dilimun is a clean place. The land of Dilimun is a clean place. The land of Dilimun is a bright place. He who is alone laid himself down in Dilimun. The place of Enki is clean. That place is bright. It's supposed to be in a place where the raven uttered no cries. Yeah, before they came, before they came into the picture. It's supposed to be in a place where the raven uttered no cries, and the lion killed not the wolf, snatched not the lamb, Unknown was the kid-killing dog. Unknown was the grain-devouring boar. Until they came, Dilmun had no water, and Ekaya had the cries of its goddess, Nin-Sikil, and orders the sun god Acha to bring fresh water from the earth for Dilmun. As a result, her city drinks the water of abundance. Dilmun drinks the water of abundance. Her wells of bitter water, behold, they are become wells of good water. Her fields and farms produce the crops and grain. Her city beholds it has become the house of the banks and a quays of the land. Dilmun was identified with Bahrain, whose name in Arabic means two seas, where the fresh waters of the Arabian aquifer mingle with the salt waters of the Persian Gulf. This mingle of waters was known in Sumerian as Namu and was identified as the mother of Enkaya. The subsequent tale, with similarities to the biblical story of the forbidden fruit, repeats the story of how fresh water brings life to a barren land. Enkaya, the water lord, then caused to flow the water of the heart, and had fertilized his consort Nihursag, also known as Ki or Earth, after 9 days being had 9 months, the months of womanhood. Like good butter, Nishu, the mother of the land, like good butter, gave birth to Nisa, Lady Greenery. When Nihursag left him as water lord, he came upon Nisa, Lady Greenery, not knowing her to be his daughter, and because she reminds him of his absent consort. Enkaya then seduces and has intercourse with her. Nisa then gave birth to Nikura, Lady Fruitfulness or Lady Pasture, and now leaves Enkaya alone again. A second time, Enkaya in his loneliness, or maybe he was too needy, finds and seduces Nikura, and from the union Nikura gives birth to Asha, weaver or spider, the weaver of the web of life. A third time, Enkaya succumbs to temptation and attempts seduction of Asha. Upset about Enkaya's reputation, Asha consults Nihursag, who, upset at the promiscuous wayward nature of her spouse, advises Asha to avoid the river banks. The place is likely to be affected by flooding, the home of Enkaya. In another version of this myth, Nihursag takes Enkaya's semen from Asha's womb and plants it in the earth, where 8 plants rapidly germinate. With his two-faced servants and steward Izimud, Enkaya in the swampland, and the swampland lies stretched out. Water, what is this plant? What is this plant? His messenger Izimud answers him, my king, this is the tree plant. He says to him. He cuts it off for him, and he, Enkaya, eats it. And so, despite warnings, Enkaya consumes the other 7 fruit. Consuming his own semen, he falls pregnant, ill with swellings in his jaw, his teeth, his mouth, his hip, his throat, his limbs, his side, and his rib. I think this is a metaphor. This is not a literal thing. How come, unless he is androgynous, how come a male gives birth? A male has no womb to secure the fetus. A male has no ovaries to secrete hormone. The goddess are at loose to know what to do. Shingrain, they sit in the dust. Ezekiah lacks a birth canal through which to give birth from the rear. He seems to be dying with swellings. The fox then asks Enlil, king of the gods, if I bring Nihursag before thee, what shall be my reward? What a sly fox, a cunning fox. Nihursag's sacred fox then fetches the goddess. Nihursag relents and takes Enki's waters of semen into her body, and gives birth to gods of healing of each part of the body. Abu for the jaw. Oh, brother. Nanshi for the throat. Nichul for the hip. Nisutu for the tooth. Ninkasi for the mouth. Dazimue for the side, and Shagag for the limbs. The last one, Ninshi, Lady Rib, is also a pun on Lady's life, a title of Nihursag herself. The story thus symbolically reflects the way in which life is brought forth through the addition of water to the land. And once it grows, water is required to bring plants to fruit. It also counsels balance and responsibility, nothing to excess. Ninshi, the title of Nihursag, also means the mother of all living, and was a title later given to the Hurrian goddess Heba. I don't believe so. This being only stayed more in Africa, Middle East. They didn't come to, or the most they could have gone was Sumeria, Asia. They didn't go to the Occident. Much later than they went, not the beginning. This is also the title given. So how come they are the mother and the father of all living? Doesn't make any sense. This is also the title given in the Bible to Eve. Eve was not first woman. Eve was just a hybrid, and so was the pie and the moon. There were many others being already living here on earth, everywhere. Right? The Hebrew and Aramaic Hawa, who was made from the rib of Adam. That's no business. It's a hybrid monster, whatever. It's a hybrids. Those Anunaki is hybrid Dracos. This nothing to do with the primordial humans already existent in here all over the world. In a strange reflection of the Sumerian myth in which Adam, not Enki, walks in the garden of paradise, making of man. After 6 generations of gods in the Babylonian Enuma, at least in the 7th generation, Akkadian Shapatu or Sabbath, the younger Agigi gods, the sons and daughters of Enlil and Nihil go on strike and refuse their duties of keeping creation walking. Abzu, god of fresh water, co-creator of the cosmos, threatens to destroy the world with his waters, and the gods gather in terror. And Kaya promises to help and put Abzu to sleep, confining him in irrigation canals and places him in the Kur, beneath his seat of Iriju. But the universe is still threatened, as Chiama, angry at the imprisonment of Abzu, and at the prompting of her son and a vizier, Kingu, decides to take back creation herself. The gods gather again in terror and turn to Enkaya for help. But Enkaya, who harnessed Abzu, Tiamat's consort for irrigation, refuses to get involved. The gods then seek help elsewhere, and the patriarchal Enlil, their father, god of Nippur, promises to solve the problem if they make him king of the gods. In the Babylonian tale, Enlil's role is taken by Marduk, Enki's son. In the Assyrian version, it is Ashur. After dispatching Tiamat with the arrows of his wings down her throat and constructing the heavens with the arch of her ribs, Enlil places her tail in the sky as the Milky Way, and her crying eyes become the source of the Tigris and the Euphrates. But there is still the problem of who will keep the cosmos working. Enkaya, who might have otherwise come to their aid, is lying in a deep sleep and fails to hear the cries. His mother, Namu, Creatix, also of Abizu and Chama, brings the tears of the gods before Enkaya and says, "O my son, arise from thy bed, from thy slumber, walk what is wise, fashion servants for the gods, may they produce their bread." Enkaya then advises that they create a servant of the gods, humankind out of clay and blood. Against Enkaya's wish, the gods decide to slay Kingu, and Enkaya finally consents to use Kingu's blood to make the first human, with who Enkaya always later has a close relationship. The first of the seven sages, seven wise men, or Abigalu, Abi, water gal, great Lu men, water great man, also known as Adapa. This is Adam, and Kaya assembles a team of divinities to help him, creating a host of good and princely fashioners. He tells his mother, "O my mother, the creature whose name you has ushered, it exists. Bide upon it the will of the gods. Mix the heart of clay that's over the abyss. The good and princely fashioners will thicken the clay. Do bring the limbs into existence. Nima, Nihursag, his wife and consort, will walk above thee. Nichu, goddess of birth, will stand by thy fashioning. O my mother, decree do it is the newborn's fate." They already come here, they found humans already here, and then they kind of adulterated the humans. They changed their DNA by the command of his mom. So he take the blood of this Kingu and mix it with this the first hybrids in Africa and Middle East. And after that they intermarried with Neanderthals and many others and create. And then how we came about. Then they put the Nima also helped him, his wife, his sister consort, or his wife. I mean, his once her consort, or is her consort, and she also fashioned the humans, created the engineering body that we have right now, and a place in the womb of Nishu, of one of their daughters. Adapa, the first man fashioned, later goes and acts as the advisor to the king of Eridu. When in the Sumerian king list, the me of kingship descends on Eridu. Samuel Noah Kramer believes that behind this myth of Enki's confinement of Abizu lies an older one of the struggle between Enkaya and the dragon Ku, the underworld. The Atrahasis epos has it that Enlil requested from Namu the creation of humans, and Namu told him that with the help of Enkaya, her son, she can create humans in the image of gods, unite of languages. In the Sumerian epic entitled Enmerka and the Lord of Arasha, in speech of Enmerka, an introductory spell appears, recounting Enkaya having had mankind communicate in one language. or in other account, it is a Hymen imploring Enki to do so. In either case, Enki facilitated the debates between the two kings by allowing the word to speak one language, the presumed superior language of the tablet. J. Chrysostom translates based on the recent work of him. At the time, as there was no snake, as there was no scorpion, then you all bring there, as there was no hyena. I see they brought all this here, all these vermins they brought here. There was no hyenas, there was no lions, there was no dog or wolves, there was no fear or trembling, as humans had no rival. And then you all bring all this. It was then that the lands of Subur and Hamazi, the distinctly tongued Sumer, the great mountain, the city of nobility, Akkad, the land possessing the befitting, and the land of Martu lie in safety. The totality of heaven and earth, the well-guarded people, all proclaimed Enlil in a single language. Enki, the Lord of abundance and true word, the Lord is truth and wisdom who watches over the land, the expert of all the gods, the truth and wisdom, the Lord of Iridu, Enki placed an alteration of the language in their mouth. The speech of humanity is one. Once upon a time there was no snake, there was no scorpion, there was no hyena, there was no lion, there was no wild dog, no wolf, there was no fear, no terror, men had no rival. In those days the lands of Subur, Hamazi, Harmony, Tongued Suma, the great land of the decrees of princeship, Uri, the land having all that is appropriate, the land Martu, rest and security, the whole universe, the people in unison, the Enlil in one tongue spoke. Then Enki, the Lord of abundance, whose commands are trustworthy, the Lord of wisdom, who understands the land, the leader of the gods, endowed with wisdom, the Lord of Iridu, changed the speech and their mouths, brought contentions into it, in the speech of a man that until then had been one. The deluge. In the Sumerian version of the flood myth, the causes of the flood and the reasons for the hero's survival are unknown due to the fact that the beginning of the tablet describing the story has been destroyed. Nonetheless, Krama has stated that it can probably be reasonably inferred that the hero Ziusudra survives due to Enki's aid, because that is what happens in the later Akkadian and Babylonian versions of the story. Who is Ziusudra? Was that Noah's? In the later legends of Atrahasis, Enlil, the king of the gods, sets out to eliminate humanity, whose noise is disturbing his rest. He successfully sends drought, famine, and plague to eliminate humanity. But Enki thwarts his half-brother's plans by teaching Atrahasis how to counter these threats. Each time Atrahasis asks the population to abandon worship of all gods except the one responsible for the calamity, and this seems to shame them into relenting. Humans, however, proliferate a fourth time. Enraged, Enlil convenes a council of deities and gets them to promise not to tell humankind that he plans their total annihilation. Enki does not tell Atrahasis directly, but speaks to him in secret via really well. He instructs Atrahasis to build a boat in order to rescue his family and other living creatures from the coming deluge. After the 7-day deluge, the flood hero frees a swallow, a raven, and a dove in an effort to find if the flood water have receded. Upon landing, a sacrifice is made to the gods. and Leo is angry. His will has been thwarted yet again. Good for your faith. And Enki is named as the culprit. Enki explains that Enlil is unfair to punish the guilty. It reminds me of the two brothers, from the England, one older one and the younger one. In this case here, Enkaya is the older, and the younger one is the Enlil. And the gods institute measures to ensure that humanity does not become too populous in the future. This is one of the oldest of the surviving Middle Eastern delusion myths. Enkaya and Inanna. The myth Enkaya and Inanna tells the story of how the young goddess of the Inanna temple of Uruk feasts with her father Enkaya. The two deities participate in a drinking competition. Then Enkaya, truly inebriated, gives Inanna all of the mess. The next morning, when Enkaya wakes with a hangover, he asks his servant if he mood for the mess, only to be informed that he has given them to Inanna. Upset, he sends Gala to recover them. Inanna sails away in the boat of heaven and arrives safely back at the quay of Uruk. Eventually, Enkaya admits his defeat and accepts a peace treaty with Uruk. Politically, this myth would seem to indicate events of an early period when political authority passed from Enkaya's seat of Eridu to Inanna's seat of Uruk. In the midst of Inanna's descent, Inanna, in order to console her grieving sister Erishkigal, who is mourning the death of her husband Gugalan, oh my gosh, Gubul Galbig, Anna Skyhaven, slain by Gilgamesh and Enkidu, sets out to visit her sister. Inanna tells her servant Nishubur, Lady Evening, referring to Inanna's role as the evening star, to get help from Anu and Leo or Enkaya if she does not return in 3 days. After Inanna has not come back, Nishubur approaches Anu, only to be told that he knows the goddess's strength and her ability to take care of herself. While Leo tells Nishubur he is busy running the cosmos. Oh my god! Enkaya immediately expresses concern and dispatch his Galatura or Kurgara, sexless beings created from the death from beneath the god's fingernail to recover the young goddess. He is quite caring. Enkaya is caring actually. These beings may be the origin of the Greco-Roman Galli, androgynous beings of the third sex. Oh my god, I know Trani, who played an important part in the early religion's ritual. In the story Inanna and Shukaletuda, the gardener set by Enki to care for the deity palm he had created, finds Inanna sleeping under the palm tree and rapes the goddess in her sleep. Awakening, she discovers she has been violated and seeks to punish the miscreant. Shukaletuda seeks protection from Enki, who Botero believes to be his father. In classic Enkian fashion, the father advises Shukaletuda to hide in the city where Inanna will not be able to find him. What? Inanna is raped by him and the father, instead of punishing him, help him out? Enkaya, as the protector of whoever comes to seek his help, and as the empowerer of Inanna, he challenges the young impetuous goddess to control her anger so as to be better able to function as a great judge. Oh my goodness! Eventually, after cooling her anger, she too seeks the help of Enkaya as a spoken person of the assembly of the gods. The Igigi and the Anunaki. After she presents her case, Enki sees that justice needs to be done and promises help, delivering knowledge of where the miscreant is hiding. Enki in later Ea were apparently depicted sometimes as men covered with the skin of a fish. And this representation is likewise the name of his temple Iapsu, House of the Watery Deep, points decidedly to his original character as a god of the waters. Around the excavation of the 18 shrines found on the spot, thousands of carp bones were found consumed, possibly in feasts to the god. Of his cult at Eridu, which goes back to the oldest period of Mesopotamian history, nothing definite is known except that his temple was also associated with Nihursag temples, which was called Izagila, the lofty-headed house. In house is a head higher than Juarez. A name shared with Marduk's temple in Babylon points to a staged tower, or ziggurat, as is the temple of Enlil at Nippur, which was known as Ikur, Kur Hill, and that incantation involved ceremonial rites in which water as a sacred element played a prominent part, formed the feature of his worship. This seems also implicated the epic of the heroes Gamos, or sacred marriage of Enki and Nihursag above, which seems an etiological myth of the fertilization of the dry ground by the coming of irrigation water from the Sumerian Abi water or semen. The early inscription of Urukagina in fact goes so far as to suggest that the divine pair Enki and Ninki were the progenitors of 7 pairs of gods, including Enki as god of Eridu, Enlil of Nippur, and Suen or Sin of Iwar, and were themselves the children of En, sky, heaven, and Ki, earth. The pool of Duabizu at the front of his temple was adopted also as the temple of Tunana, Akkadian Sin, the moon at Iwar, and spread there throughout the Middle East. It is believed to remain today as the sacred pool at the mosques, or as the holy water font in Catholic or Eastern Orthodox churches. Whether Eridu at one time also played an important political role in Sumerian affairs is not certain, though not improbable. At all events, the prominence of Ea led, as the case of Nippur, to the survival of Eridu as a sacred seat, long after it had ceased to have any significance as a political center. Myths in which Ea figures prominently have been found in Ashurbanipal library and in the Hattusas archive in Haishaish, Anatolia. As Ea in Kaya had a wide influence outside of Sumer, being equated with El at Ugarit and possibly Ea at Ebla. In the Canaanite Urim pantheon, he is also found in Hurrian and Haishaish mythology as a god of contracts, and is particularly favorable to humankind. It has been suggested that etymologically the name Ea comes from the term high life, referring to Enki, water and life-giving. Enki Ea is essentially a god of civilization, wisdom, and culture. He was also the creator and protector of man. I don't believe, and of the world in general. Traces of this version of Ea appear in the Marduk epic celebration, the achievement of this god, and the close connection between the Ea cult at Eridu and that of Marduk. The correlation between the two rises from two other important connections. First, that the name of Marduk's sanctuary at Babylonia bears the same name, Izagla, as that of the temple in Eridu, and 2, that Marduk generally termed the son of Ea. who derives his powers from the voluntary abdication of the father in favor of his son. Accordingly, the incantations originally composed for the Yah cult were redacted by the priests of Babylonia and adapted to the worship of Marduk. And similarly, the hymns to Marduk betray traces of the transfer to Marduk attributes which originally belonged to Yah. It is, however, as the third figure in the triad, the two other members of which were Anu and Enlil, that Yah acquires his permanent place in the pantheon. To him was assigned the control of the watery element, and in this capacity he becomes the Shar Apsi, king of the Apsu or the abyss. The Apsu once figured as the abyss of water beneath the earth, and since the gathering place of the dead, known as Aralu, once situated near the confines of the Apsu, he was also designed as Enki, lord of that which is below, in contrast to Anu, who was the lord of the above or the heavens, or maybe the astral world. The cult of Yah extended throughout Babylonia and Assyria. We find temples and shrines erected in his honor at Nippur, Gizu, Yuar, Babylon, Sippar, and Nineveh, and the numerous epithets given to him, as well as the various forms under which the god appears, alike bear witness to the popularity which he enjoyed from the earliest to the latest period of Babylonian Assyrian history. The consort of Yah, known as Nihursag Ki Uriashi Damkina, lady of that which is below, or Damgal Nuna, big lady of the waters, originally was fully equal with Yah, but in a more patriarchal Assyrian and New Babylonian times, plays a primarily in association with her lord. Generally, however, Enki seems to be a reflection of pre-patriarchal times, in which relations between the sexes were characterized by a situation of greater gain than quality. In his character, he prefers persuasion to conflict, which he seeks to avoid if possible. Yah in West Semitic deities. In 1964, a team of Italian archaeologists under the direction of Paolo Mattier of the University of Rome La Sapienza performed a series of excavations of material from the 3rd millennium CE city of Ebla. Much of the written material found in this text was later translated by Giovanni Pettinato. Among other conclusions, he found a tendency among the inhabitants of Ebla, after the reign of Sargon of Akkad, to replace the name of El, king of the gods of the Canaanite pantheon, found the names such as Michael and Ismael, with Iya, Micaiah, Ismael. Jean Botero and others suggest that Iya in this case is a West Semitic Canaanite way of pronouncing the Akkadian name Iya, associated to the Canaanite theonym Yahu, the Hebrew Yahweh. Some scholars remain skeptical to the theory while explaining how it might have been misinterpreted. Yah has also been compared by William Hallow with the Ugaritic god Yam Si, was called Judge Nahar or Judge River, whose earlier name in at least one ancient source was Yao or Yah. Yam is the god of the underworld for the Vedas, if I don't make a mistake. Yah was also known as Dagon and Ioana, Greek-sized Uranus, the first of the 7 sages. And that's all for now.